Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Felsbrunn Farm. And as you can see, 7:30 in the morning, I've got time on just regular time at the moment while I do my little inspection here. And you can see that our crops have started growing overnight. We turned the crop growth up to slow overnight and I've just turned it back off again for the rest of the day. So we have a little bit of growth and we have some weeds, and these are stage 1 weeds. Only at 50%, and it's the same on the other field. Look, you can see, oh, it says weeds 100% on this one, but that's strange. It says weeds 100%, okay, but these are small weeds, so the weed percentage is obviously not the level of weed, it's more representative of how much of the field is covered in weeds, I'm guessing. So that percentage may well change. I'm just going to switch these wheels over to skinnies. There we go. We shouldn't be damaging our crop at this stage, I think, but I'd rather not take the risk. So let's customize this. Let's stick on those skinny wheels. There we go. Let's grab our weeder and start weeding away. And you can see I spent a little bit of money. I spent £3 on some pallets of premium chicken food. That was a very interesting drive back. I rolled once almost immediately out of the store, and then I also got stuck with my wheels pointing up into the sky, where it just I hit a bump and I ended up balancing on the rear of the fender, so I had to bail that out a couple of times with the New Holland and the arms to tip it back onto its wheels again, and in the end I just drove back to the farm at just 10 miles an hour just to make sure that I could actually make it back without rolling or tipping. So yeah, an interesting drive, but it was worth it. We brought 2 pallets back. One of them has partially emptied into the bed of the Mahindra, and we'll just tip that straight into the chicken sale point when we get those up and running a little bit later. But for now, we're going to actually do some weeding, so these weeds should disappear. There we go. These are small weeds. They're not the tall ones with the flowers, so at this height... In fact, this is all weeds. There's no crop growth at all, by the look of it. Everything you see here is weed. So we'll get rid of this. We'll clean the fields off. Will a worker hire? I've tried in the past with a different worker, with a different weeder, and it wouldn't do it. Let me see. Yes, you can. Look, you can hire a weeder or a worker with a weeder. So maybe it's specific weeders. I tried with this level of weed on the field before. But with the really large blue weeder, and it wouldn't let me hire a worker. That one, though, happy as Larry to tootle on down the field. So while he's doing that, let's sort out these pallets of chicken food and get our chickens set up. I'm going to start by taking the second pallet off the top of the Mahindra, because it's not only making it very unbalanced, it's also, you know, destroying our suspension like that. So still got the bale spikes on. I might just do away with the pallet forks altogether and just stick to these. We'll see how we get on. Get squared up a bit. There we go. So let's undo the strap if we can. This is tricky, actually, trying to get close enough to undo the strap again. There we go. The strap's undone. You can see how much the vehicle is sagging. So let's lift this off. We'll move this around the corner. Oops. That's one way to take it off, I suppose. Just push this around. Oh, caught my exhaust pipe on my veranda there. On my balcony. Let's swing around to the side. This is my spare pallet, so I'll leave that just there. Okay, good stuff. And let's buy some chickens. We have minus $3,000, so we'll have to take some money out of the bank. But our interest payments were reduced slightly, thanks to sticking that money in the bank overnight. There we go. So let's borrow some cash. That should hopefully be enough. Let's buy some chickens. So I want a rooster. And let's buy a selection of random chickens. I think I got rid of my rooster, didn't I? Yes, I did. I'm just looking to see how much this is going to cost. Oh, I've done it again. Look, clicked off the rooster. I think I just bought 2 roosters. Yeah, there we go. Click through, get a load of these chickens. And there we go, we've reached 100. So that's only going to cost us 6,500. 5,000 for the chickens. Why we're being charged a fee, I don't know. It's a bit frustrating because we can't actually collect them from anywhere. So we'll confirm that. And there we go. We have 100 chickens in our pen already. So if we take a look at our animal tab, there you can see the different types of chicken that we have. 36 white chickens, 32 brown chickens, 31 black chickens, and 1 rooster. So we need chicken food, and we need to keep the food area clean. We can do that. Oh, actually, we'll need to buy a bucket, won't we, to be able to do that. That's something we can pick up today. So let's drive this around. Let's tip that in. Let's get the last of the wheat out of there as well. There we go. I'm guessing 100 chickens is going to need quite a bit of food. It's showing that I've got nothing left in, but there is still a little bit showing on there. Let's see if I can actually get rid of that. You see it says 0 in our thing there, in our trailer. Very strange that, we actually got a little bit showing still. Let's take a look, how much has that done for our food trough? Not much, it's the answer. Not much at all. So this will take it up to 1,000, or it should take it up to 1,000. Once we finish emptying the pallet, and then we'll get the other one up and running as well. And that'll give us food for a bit. We'll still need more, but it's enough to get us started. So there we go. That's the first one done. Should be on 1,000 litres. 994. So it looks like there is 6 litres still stuck in the back of my Mahindra. See if I can get closer. Maybe that will get that last couple of litres out of there. Or maybe the chickens have just eaten 6 litres already. That's probably a bit more likely. Yeah, that says it's empty. Let's get this second one done, and then we can check to see if we've started producing eggs in our pallets. Spawn area. And then the eggs we can just throw into the back of the Mahindra to deliver. That'll be a nice speedy delivery service as well. It's up to 60 miles an hour with that thing. There we go. So, if we take another look. Good stuff. So it's going to take a little while for these to kick in terms of their activity. If you remember back to Farming Sim 17, the reproduction cycles, the... actually, do these breed? Oh, they do. So we could have actually bought less than that and bred some of those. Never mind. The cycles kicked over every 20 minutes in game. It would refresh the food levels, the reproduction rate, the productivity. That would all get refreshed every 20 in-game minutes. So it's going to be a little while until we actually get some motion or some movement on this, if it sticks to the same timetable. Maybe it's been tweaked for 19. Let's have a look. So it's 8:15 at the moment. Let's come back and check around about past, see how we're doing. Our worker is running around over here. And there you can see the weed percentage changing. Now that's very strange, the way it changes like that. Very strange indeed. Maybe it's 100% weeds here. And then this section that we're in only has 51%. I don't understand that. That's very strange. I think there might be something a little bit wrong with that info box. I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. Anyway, let's jump into our fence and we'll take over the weeding and we'll get that finished ourselves manually. And then beyond that, today, there isn't really much for us to do until our crops start growing. So I think we're going to be contracting again today, try and make a bit more cash. And maybe look at getting something else set up as well. So let's take over from our worker. There we go. And we are weeding away, cleaning our fields with these early stage weeds. It's interesting to actually see the different types of weeds showing on the field. We've got 3 distinct types. And I'll just jump out to show you what I mean by that. So we've got these ones, these leaf ones here. That's type 1. Then we've got this one here, which is type 2. And then this one here, which is type 3. So, actually, no, that one there as well. 4. So 4 different weed types. Or is that the same as that? It looks like there might be 4 different weed types. Or 4 different weed models. So a little bit of variation, but of course the way they're laid out means that invariably they all look the same after a very short period of time. Yeah, they don't grow in a random pattern. It's a set box of texture that gets put down and then duplicated across the entire field. Same with crops, same with everything. Same with field textures. So that's standard practice. It's not something that's unique to this game as a way of designing things. So it shouldn't take us too long to get this weeded. As you can see, nice and straightforward. Getting those fields clean, and it'll be interesting as well to see whether or not these will grow back at some point during the growth stage. Yeah, we're cleaning them here when the crops are basically, still in their infancy. We've got no actual crop growth just yet. Now, do we only get 1 set of weeds per cycle of harvests? Or if I clean these off now, am I likely to see more weeds before the crop has finished growing? We will find out over the next day or two as these crops continue to grow, and we'll see exactly where we end up. If we have to repeat this process. If it's doing with the weeder, then that's fine. It's not going to cost us anything. But if the weeds get really big, then obviously that's going to start costing us money if we have to spray them with herbicide. So yeah, very curious about that. I'm interested to see how that will shake out. And there's nothing we can do other than wait and see what happens, really. So I'll carry on weeding away, and then we'll start looking for another contract. See what we can pick up, and then maybe see if we can start planning an expansion for our farm. It's still a way off, but we can at least start making plans, I think. So if you are manually weeding, like I am right now, it's a good idea to check the field on the screen once you're done, because it's entirely possible, like me, even though the field looks clean, you have left thin strips of weed lying around. So I'm making sure that we're getting rid of all of those, as you can see. I'm just rooting those last weeds out, and then I'll move over onto the other field, and I'll make sure I have a little bit of an overlap whenever I do it. Obviously a worker is going to be okay. A worker will collect everything, but when we do this stuff manually, we are sort of leaving ourselves open to missing spots. So I do highly recommend that you do kind of check your progress, just to make sure you haven't left strips. And of course the great thing is as well, with the way that the vehicles keep running when you go into the menu system now, means you can actually see whether you're lined up and not constantly stop start. So you can keep sort of refreshing your screen like this to get live updates, make sure that you are catching everything like that. It's really clever. I like that. And then when I get a little bit further along, I can see that I'm going to need to just go down a little bit to cap that last thin strip. So that looks to be about done. It is. Okay, so we need to move across. Now I think about here is looking pretty good. Let's double check that. Yeah, that should cover it. And there you can see we are clearing away that last thin strip. So there you go. One field completely weeded by this tiny little bit I'm doing now. One field still to go. Just one last pass to go, but before we start that, there's something else that's new with weeders. In 17 we could use weeders to clear anything basically, so if we had grass on the field that was left over we couldn't quite pick up, we could just get rid of it by running a weeder over it. Same with hay or straw, anything like that that was left on the field, or even off a field in a surrounding area. But you can see we've got some loose straw here. Weeder is down, nothing's happening, it won't clear it. So you will end up, if you're a bit scruffy with your mowing or with straw, you will end up with bits of straw just hanging around in perpetuity. You'll have to manually kind of clear those away somehow with a bucket or something, I don't know. So that's just something to be wary of going forward. So while we're on this final pass, I've been keeping an eye on the animal tab, and you can see that so far, oh, there we go. They've just ticked over their first batch of eggs. Last time I checked, which was about sort of 10 minutes ago in game, nothing had happened. The productivity was at 99%, but there was no eggs, and the cleanliness had changed a little bit, and the food had gone down a little bit. That was it. So we are actually starting to make some eggs already. We've got 21 litres in total of eggs. Sorry, 2 litres of eggs. It's not much, but it's a start. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to sell off a couple of my chickens. The reason is I want to see how long it takes for them to reproduce. And if I think maybe, depending on their reproduction rate, what we could do is if we go down initially just to 95, leave space for 5 more chickens, we'll see how fast they breed. And we could make money by dropping down to, say, 90 chickens, breeding eggs off the 90, and then just selling batches of 10 chickens. Might make some money that way. It might take a little while to make some money, but it's an extra possibility. Plus, if they're going to breed, if they can breed, we might as well try and make some money out of them in that way, as well as just relying on the eggs. So the weeding is done. There's nothing more to do with our fields today. I don't think we can spray them yet, because we haven't, although we've had weeds grow, we haven't had a transition in the field in terms of the crop growth. So We'll have to wait until the crops hit stage 1, which will be tomorrow now by the look of it. Spray them. And then, you know, just let them grow until they're ready to harvest. And hopefully we're not going to have that issue of weeds coming back. So let's give this a quick blast with the hose. We can tidy our yard up again now. Get our equipment cleaned and maintained. Should probably look at doing some maintenance on the weeder as well. It's going to need it, I would imagine. The last little bit of mud off our fent here. There we go. Clean off the weeder. There we go. So let's just drop that there for a second. See if it does actually need some maintenance. Let's move the fent out of the way. Oops. Oh yeah, look at the condition. We've used it very little at all, and the condition shows that it's gone down by half. That's quite bad. So let's repair that for $102. 102 euros even. It's quite pricey, really, in terms of maintenance for just weeding 2 small-ish kind of fields. That's quite expensive. I do think the maintenance payouts are a little bit too high. It'd be nice to see those tweaked by Giants and maybe brought down a little bit. And obviously we're going to be doing contracting. On the subject of contracts, I do feel that there isn't enough disparity between a price that you're offered for doing the job and a price that you're offered minus the leasing costs of certain equipment. I do think that if you're using your own equipment, that the price should fluctuate based on what equipment you're using. So I suppose it'd be hard to kind of figure that one out, but I'm just thinking, if you only own a small combine like that and you take on a job that only pays, say, $3,000 and offers a much bigger combine with a much bigger header, obviously if you use your own equipment you're going to save the lease costs, but you're going to pay, it's going to take you a much longer time to actually do the job. So is it really worth using your own equipment half the time? Probably not. It's probably better in terms of just taking a little bit less of a payout, using much bigger leased equipment and getting the job done quicker so you can get onto another contract and get that one done, and so on and so forth. I think in the long run you'll lose, or you won't earn as much money, but you'll be able to, in terms of per payout, but you'll be turning the jobs out much quicker. So in the long run you will make more money over the same period of time, just not for the same amount of work. In fact, no, you probably will earn more money per... Yeah, you will technically earn more money for the amount of work that's being done, because it'll take you considerably more time and energy using your own equipment that's small on a big job, or a job that would normally have big equipment. And on top of that, you've got your wear and tear costs, and you've got your vehicle maintenance on top of that as well. So yeah, I think it is a little bit lopsided with the contracting. It's going to be better to just use your own equipment very sparingly and just use the leased equipment more often than not. That's what's going to get you the best deal, I think. Right, let's put the Mahindra. Still got that little bit there. Quite odd. You see, we're up on 2 wheels. Look, we're just, you know, up on 3 wheels, just dog-legging slightly there. Cocking the rear wheel. So we'll put that back in there. We'll clean up the new... Actually, the New Holland is clean, isn't it? We'll drop the... No, it's not. It was clean. And then we hired a worker to seed it. I have to seed these fields. So we'll give this a clean. We'll put the spikes down. We'll go down and we'll collect a bucket from the store, because we're going to need that to be able to keep our chicken area clean. And then we'll look for a contract job for the afternoon, because it's already closing in on midday. So we have our new bucket, and we're going to turn on to our land just here and go around the side of the field. We use this little side dirt road. And destination chicken pen. Clean up the mess. Oh, it's really bumpy around here, isn't it? Look how much we're getting jostled all over the place. Wow, I had no idea it was quite so... It's insanely bumpy over here. Look at that, that's ridiculous. You see a path and you just naturally assume it's going to be a reasonably smooth ride, and oh, not the case here at all. We're getting bucked and bounced all over the place. Oh, that's vicious. Right, let's clean up after these chickens. You can see our first box of eggs starting to appear. So let's clean up the pen. I wonder if that actually, if mess affects the productivity. Let's have a look. Cleanliness is down to 92, productivity still 99, so no, it doesn't. Well, at least not at this stage. Maybe if it gets really messy, it would be a little bit different. But there we go. I have to say, I'm very disappointed with just how small the capacity is on this bucket. It's less than 1,000 litres. That's tiny. The smallest bucket we got from Farming Simulator 17, if I remember rightly, was about just under 2,000 litres. About 18, 19, somewhere in that region. 1900. So to have just 900 and something litres as a bucket capacity, that's pretty small. But it is what it is. Right, I want to sell some of these chickens, see what happens. Let's find... We're going to lose some money on them, which is we're only going to sell 5 of them. Let's... let's do that. Take 5 out. We're going to charge the fee to get rid of them as well. Are you serious? That's ridiculous. So selling 5 chickens means we only get paid $10 euros per chicken, as opposed to 25. That's pathetic. Ah dear. Okay, well, we need to sell them anyway, so let's confirm the sale. But that is ridiculous. It's bad enough that we're getting hit with a half price on the animals, but to then be charged a fee to get rid of them as well. It's just, what's the point in selling them? That is absurd. Dear, dear, dear. Right. We're up to 11 litres of eggs. We're getting there very, very slowly. It's going to be a while before we can actually make any money off these eggs. If we look at eggs in the prices, you can see good prices. That's per 1,000 litres, though, and we have 11 litres, so we're way off yet. But hopefully they'll make some money reasonably quickly. Now we just need to wait and see what happens to the reproduction rate. So I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so we have a reproduction rate of 7 hours to breed a new chicken. That's going to take a while. So if you're going to do chickens and you want to try and make money on them in terms of breeding, you're going to need to do them en masse. You're going to need hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of chickens. You're going to need large pens, which can hold up to 400. We didn't really have space for a large pen, or the money for that matter. But it is possible. They're up to 13 litres of eggs now as well. So again, if you want to make serious money on eggs, you're going to need loads and loads and loads of placeable pens for chickens, and you're going to need probably to max out all your pen allowance, which I think is 10 pens or 12 pens. I think was the limit that is set. You probably need to max all of that out with large pens all the way across the board to really make any kind of living just as a chicken farmer. Interesting. Right. I have taken a contract on while I was looking at that and waiting for that to happen, and we're going to do that cotton harvest contract that we saw the other day, yesterday actually, when we were looking at jobs. It's going to pay us 8,620, which isn't too bad. The leasing costs for 2 cotton harvesters, even though we only want one of them, and the truck and the trailer, is going to set us back around 1,500 or so. So we're looking to get paid around about 7 grand for this job, plus whatever we can get for any leftover wool. We'll leave that parked up there so that we can come back and periodically tidy up there. We'll jump in the Mahindra Retriever. We'll head on down to the store and start transferring the cotton equipment over to the relevant field and start a cotton harvest contract. I've just noticed my Mahindra is almost out of fuel. I'm trying to think, did I have to reset it at some point? And that's why it's got no fuel left, or have I just naturally run out of fuel? Not sure. I have to remember to refill that on the way back to the farm later. So we'll park that up just there. And here we go. These are the bits of equipment we've been given for this job. So 2 cotton harvesters. I suppose we could run one and hire a worker to do the other one, but what's the point? The amount of money it would take away from us, it just wouldn't be worth it. So we'll just run the one of them, and then we're given, oh, this is the biggest truck, isn't it? This is the Roadrunner with that sleeper cab at the back, and then this is the larger of the 2 trailers as well. This one will hold 2 cotton bales. So interesting selection of equipment. Let's start off with the Roadrunner. Let's hop in. Listen to that engine fire up properly. I can see the fan spinning on the back, look, as well, on the back of the cab. That's kind of cool. That's got a nice throaty gargle to the engine noise there. That's nice. I'll get hooked up. I have used this trailer before, just not this truck. This is the only truck I haven't used yet. There we go. And where is it we're going? What field are we on? Are we on field 6? Where is field 6? Oh, just here. So that's just one above where we did our potato harvest, just there. So it shouldn't be too hard to get there. Swing around as best we can. I can see my indicators in the mirror. That's cool. I've got pretty good visibility mirror-wise in 19. I have to say I'm quite impressed with the mirrors. They do seem to be positioned a little bit better, or your visibility in the mirrors seems to be a little bit better for the most part. It's not flawless. It's not as good as it could be. But it is an improvement, I think, generally, on what we had in 17, which is always a good thing. See, just broken signposts just littering the road. Oh, that's my turn off. Where I've gone through and just clipped a sign and knocked it out. And there you can see that cotton in the background. That's where we're going to harvest. I think the field's actually bigger than the potato field that we did last time out. And the cotton harvester, it's slow moving on the road, only goes up to 15 miles an hour. Can harvest at, I think, 6 miles an hour operating speed, but it's much wider than some of the small row crop headers that we're used to. So like the potato harvester and the sugar beet harvester will only do, a small area, whereas these actually have got quite a wide entrance at the front, and these are incredibly impressive machines to drive once you're actually on the harvesting itself. They're a lot of fun to use. No beacons, so we can't put beacons on. More broken signs. You saw nothing. It wasn't me, I swear. You see our seat jostling around a little bit there, the suspension working very, very nicely. but these are a lot of fun to drive. I actually helped out a friend of mine on his Ravenport file a couple of days ago. He was running a cotton farm, well, a cotton and wool farm, so cotton fields and sheep. It was like a textiles farm, and I jumped in and took over harvesting on the cotton harvester and actually had a go on it for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I was helping out on the farm, and a good chunk of that was, about an hour of that was running the cotton itself, and then just sort of planting the next round of seed on some other fields as well. But yeah, these are a lot of fun to drive around in. They're a bit twitchy. The rear steering does make them a little bit twitchy when you're turning 180 to make your next pass. So that's something to be a little wary of. The first time you get in this, they do tend to turn quite quickly. You have to be a little bit more measured with your steering. If you just hold the button down or hold the stick down in the direction you want to turn, you will probably end up overturning and then overcorrecting and then overcorrecting again, and you'll start slaloming all over the place. So get used to the steering as quick as you can, because it will make your life a lot easier when you're used to it. And these are incredibly impressive to just see in action as well. The way they raise the roof section all pops up, and then it compacts, periodically to squash the bale down. And yeah, I do like these. A lot of fun. It's definitely, I think, cotton is going to be much more of a success, new crop wise, compared to sugarcane. That was a bit of a damp squib, unfortunately. There's so much work involved in sugarcane. It takes so long to harvest that it felt like it wasn't worth the effort half the time. But cotton, I can see cotton being a lot of fun, and I can see a lot of people doing cotton farms, just running 2 or 3 of these on their farm and lots of cotton fields. Who knows, I might try something like that going forward as well. But for now, we're just going to stick to contracting. These aren't cheap to buy. They are quite expensive. So it's not something you can set up easily if you do want to run a cotton farm. Right, what's going to be the best way for us to work this field? It's going to be up and down, isn't it? So we'll start here for now. There we go. Get into position. We'll unfold the harvester. There we go. That was it. Nice and simple. This is what I mean about the turning. It's especially tricky in multiplayer if you're playing with a poor connection, because you will get lag spikes that will make steering these very, very difficult indeed. But there we go. We are off and running, harvesting the cotton. And they're really easy to drive in first person as well when you're doing your harvesting. Like I said, I do really enjoy these, and I can see myself setting up cotton on one of my Let's Plays in the not too distant future. So I put a headland in at this top end of the field because the way the ground slopes makes it quite tricky to turn. There we go. So we should be okay going forward. And I've put the help menu on so you can see the controls and everything that you need. I mean, you don't really need to see the controls, but you can unload partial bales. It's kind of essential, really. But from what I understand, you need to hit 2,000 litres before you can unload a partial bale. So I've got my counter in the bottom there. It's at just past 1,800 litres. So we're getting close to that 2,000 marker, and I want to see, it'll give us the option to actually unload partial bale once that unlocks. So we're getting close. That's 1980. That's 2,000, and there you can see we can now unload a finished bale once we hit 2,000 litres. So as long as you have 2,000 litres in the harvester, you can unload whatever's in there and sell. It'll stick out a bale that will be, in terms of size, full size, but obviously in terms of volume, will not be full size. So it'll be exactly the same size as a 20,000 litre bale, but only be worth, say, 2,000 litres, or however many you have. But you can sell it. You can store it, you can sell it, you can unload it. You can do everything you need to once you hit that 2,000 litre limit. Once you pass that, you can unload the bale. So, nice and straightforward there. And let's see if we can see the side press in action. There it is, look. Pressing the bale down to compact it. That'll release again in a moment. There it goes. Back up to the top. These are truly wonderful machines. They really are. So, yeah, we've got a fair bit to do on this field, as you can see. I'm going to put another headland in here along the bottom as well. And we'll probably do another one at the top, just to give me a bit more turning room. So we're not dragging the header along those sort of uneven bits of ground up there. I think one pass down here should be enough. There we go. Now, in real life, cotton can be harvested more than once per crop, as can sugarcane. However, Giants did say that the yield would be so low that they decided not to do that, or not to allow that feature for 19. So you can't just plant cotton once and harvest it 2, 3, 4 times. You know, instead you get one harvest, and then you have to clean the field off and replant it if you want to do cotton again. Oh, we've got a great demand at Port Southeast. Please don't be for something that we've just sold. What's this great demand for? It's for soybean. It's a low price. It's a very low price. Look at that price. That's terrible. It's less than half the price of the grain mill. Oh, that's shockingly bad. Once again, it's not telling us how long that great demand lasts for, let alone, what it's for. We have to go into the menu ourselves to dig that information out, but it doesn't say how long it's going to last for. It's a bit disappointing, and it's a terrible price as well. 800 against nearly 1800. There's no comparison there at all, is there? It's obviously, if we were going to sell our soybean, assuming it was ready, we'd be selling it at the price where we have the best price, not the great demand price. Maybe it'll go up. We'll check in periodically and see what happens, see if it does go up. But I'm going to crack on with the cotton harvest. We're up to 3,500 litres, so a long way to go until the first bale is ready, and I'll see you in a little while. So we're a little bit past halfway on the first bale, as you can see. We're up to 10,631 litres in there. And we've still got a fair old chunk of the field to do, so we are going to need, or we are going to create a second bale. I don't think it's going to be a particularly big one, but we are going to create a second bale. So my hope is that the first bale will clear the delivery aspect, and then the second bale will be all for us. I don't think it'll quite work out that way, but it'd be nice if it did. I wonder what the price is like for wool at the moment, just out of interest. 485. That's not great. You can see the price actually is going up quite quickly, actually, at Port Southeast. Up to 918 now. It was 917 just a second ago. Now 919. So the price is improving on that great demand. Whether it's going to hit the heights of the grain mill remains to be seen. Of course, it's kind of irrelevant because our soybean is a long way from being ready to grow yet, well, to harvest, let alone to sell. So, I'm trying to make sure I get every bit of cotton off the field. There we go. Those little touches that I missed. Oh, I missed a bit more as well. It's very strange, the kind of head activation point on this. It will harvest where it's not really supposed to harvest. And take like an extra row, but only really on one direction. It's not quite so effective the other way. I've noticed that sometimes. It was the same with the potato harvester. It was better in one direction than it was the other. Surprisingly. It's just the way it is. I don't know how to explain it, but you know, the overlap between, you know, the heading working area and the crop just worked better in one direction than the other. So it's a little bit like that with this as well. Not quite to the same extreme as the potato harvester. Yeah, still a long way to go on the field, but we are making some decent progress. I'll check actually and see what our sort of contract status is looking like in terms of a percentage in just a second. Let's get lined up and get started. There we go. So let's take a look. We're at 28% at the moment. Obviously that's including delivery as well, so delivery will probably account for maybe 20% of the job. It was 20% on the last one. Whether it will be 20 on this one or not is another matter. There you can see what I mean about, you know, just taking more than it probably should do. Just drifted ever so slightly off the perfect line, and immediately we started gaining an extra row through the header. Yeah, we still have a fair bit on this field to go though, as you've seen. Still got all of that cotton there that needs to be harvested, so I'm going to crack on a bit more, and we'll check in again a little bit later on. We're almost done with the first bale, just a few hundred litres to go, and then we'll be able to eject that and carry on making the second bale. That's how much of the field we've done to make one bale. So the second one's definitely going to be a partial, there's no question of that. The only question is how much of a partial it's going to be. Can we get half a bale? Maybe. Maybe we can get half a bale out of what's remaining. Just a few litres to go. There we go. That is a full bale. So I'm just going to eject it straight into the field. There we go. And then we can drive on and collect that once we're done. There is our full bale of cotton, 20,000 litres. Now a partial bale will look exactly the same. It just obviously won't have as much value because there won't be as much product in it, but it will look exactly the same and be exactly the same size. So as I say, we'll leave that one there, and then we can just collect the bales once the job is done, and we'll make sure that we load the partial bale first, just to see if that helps us out. What's our contract status looking like right now? 50% done. Okay. Our chickens breeding away. 59 litres of eggs now, so we've still got a long way to go until we get to our first 1,000 litres. We're not looking at much in the way of money at all at the moment. But we knew it would be a long-term investment in chickens. My only question now is how long is it going to take us, as far as the chickens go, how long is it going to take us to get to that point, and how much food are they going to eat in the process? You know, are they really going to be worth it in terms of a long-term kind of build? We can obviously sell off that chicken coop if we want to. We're going to take massive losses on the chickens themselves if we sell them. We'll take a loss of, I think, at least 50% on the pen, maybe even more than that. And of course the terraforming will remain in place, so those kind of weird little rectangular side pieces of grass that it put down where it changed the fruit, they will stay there as well. In the same way that if we put a building with a concrete base down and then delete the building, the concrete base remains. It will be working exactly the same principle. So have to and ah as to whether we're going to do that, but We're going to look at chickens as a long-term thing. It gives us something to do as well when we haven't got anything on in the farm. We can always tend to the chickens, make sure they're nice and tidy and well fed. So hopefully not too far down the line we'll actually make a little bit of money off those chickens. But until then, we still have a cotton harvest to finish off, so I'll crack on, do a lot more work on this, and I'll catch up to you when we're just about done, I think. We're almost done with the harvest, just a thin strip left after we've got this this pass here done. And it's getting dark as well. It's now, what, 7:30 at night, and it's just starting to get dark right now, quite quickly actually. So this gives me the ideal opportunity to show off the lights. Now we know that some of these vehicles have a fourth stage of lighting, and you see it's getting darker every moment. Now the lighting stage on this, let's turn the harvester back on again, there we go. The first stage is obviously your front lights, then your rear lights, then bigger front lights, and then stage 4 is side lights. That's cool. I like that. I like the fact that we have different types of lights depending on the vehicle. So obviously the potato harvester only had 3 stages, but it was stage 1 was front, stage 2 was rear, and then stage 3 was the side light for the auger. Obviously the New Holland combine had 4 stages, double front, double back. This one has double front, 1 back, and then sides as well. I like that. I like that we have these new lighting stages that we haven't had before. And this bale's actually going to be quite a bit bigger than I expected as well, at 14,000 litres. That's pretty impressive. There we go. Harvesting is done. So let's eject the bale. One thing I have noticed is that these cotton harvesters are very fragile. See how much damage, see how much the maintenance chart has decreased in the short time that we've been, well, I say the short time, all we've done is this one field. That's it, and we've used up a good chunk of the health bar of this already. So yeah, that thing is quite fragile. They do tend to burn out or wear out quite quickly, which is a little frustrating. But right, these are really simple to load as well. Really simple. Just get some lights on. Oh, that's it. It's just 1 stage of front lights. That is it. You just drive up to the bale. I'll turn the engine off. There we go. And then it's just L1 and square to tip the trailer. And as soon as you get close enough, it just automatically loads it into the back of the trailer. Like that. It just grabs it and sucks it straight in. Really, really straightforward. Let's go grab the other bale. See, that's there hiding at the back, look. And it doesn't matter which way round you grab it. You just got to grab it in terms of which end. So you have to grab it end on, not side on. You just get close enough. Automatically grabs it. And we'll fold the trailer back up again. And off we go to the spinnery to sell our wool. And of course, by wool, I do mean cotton. It's just a little slip of the tongue there, because we're so used to selling wool at the spinnery. That's where we sell our cotton. So, oh dear, I think I tried to sneak out in front of a car and got wedged. Actually, there was no car. How odd. I think I panicked myself there, just caught a bit of a glare. It's quite tight down here. Let's just ease our way through. There we go. And I'm going the wrong way. Lovely. I've just realised I turned the wrong direction. I need to turn around. This is going to be fun. Oh, there goes another signpost. A bit naughty here, reversing out onto the main road like this, but needs must, unfortunately. Getting caught on lights and signs and all sorts here. There we go. Managed to wiggle myself free. Okay, we are back and back in the running again, back and operational. So the spinnery, I haven't found the spinnery before, haven't had to go there before. It's somewhere along here. Oh, it's round there. That's the spinnery. So we need to turn in just here. This is tight. This is going to be very tight getting in and around here. Oh, yeah, we came the wrong side here. It's back the other way. Oh, getting into all sorts of trouble over here. This is not good at all. This isn't even the right building, I think. Yeah, look, it's fenced off. Oh, is this the spinnery just here? Yeah, this is it just here, look. Okay, so we just basically went the wrong side of the building. So let's eject the wool. This cotton, doing it again. There we go. Contract finished. Did that only get one bale out, or was that both of them? That was both of them. We didn't get any extra. Ah, that's disappointing. Ah, well, never mind. Okay, time to head back to the store to collect our Mahindra, or whatever vehicle we left down there. I think it was the Mahindra. And close the contract off. If I can get my way out through these twisty streets here. Shortcut through past the garage. No, I can't even get through a narrow gap like that there. Well, dear oh dear. There we go, back to the roundabout. So, it's really dark. I have to say, I am impressed with the dark... More signs getting knocked all over the place. I am impressed with the lighting engine at night as well. The darkness is proper darkness now. Makes it really tricky to see, which is the way it should be, and I like that. It's a proper touch. I mean, look at that. Look how dark that is. There we go. So we're here at the store. Swing in here and cancel, close the job off. Contracts. Complete. And there we go. We just got ourselves another 7 grand for the night. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I'm Jim Bob, and I'll be back with some more Felsbrunn Farm very soon.